Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in our webinar today, Maximizing Brain Health, the Alphasize Advantage. I will be your moderator today for the entirety of this presentation. My name is Sylvie Sidhu. I am the Director of Nutraceuticals at Universe Solutions, and I'm very excited to introduce you to our speakers today. We have Dr. Francesco Amenta, who is a human anatomy professor at the University of Camerino. He has also been the director of clinical research center there. He is also a neuroscientist and has extensive experience in the understanding and management of Alzheimer's disease, including the effect of alpha-glycerophosphocholine on the Alzheimer's patients. He has authored over 600 research articles, so I'm very excited to be in the company of the guru. We also have Mike Pataruti, who is the president of ChemiNutra. Mike is very well known in the nutraceuticals industry, especially in the innovation, development, and commercialization of health ingredients. And under his leadership, ChemiNutra continues to excel in delivering scientifically backed ingredients that cater to the evolving needs of consumers, especially in the cognitive health sector. At Universe Solutions, we are serious about safety, which means every meeting starts with a safety share. Our safety share today is on mental health. There is a link between coloring, especially for adults, and good mental health. Coloring has the ability to relax the fear center of our brain, also known as the amygdala. It induces the same state as meditating by reducing the thoughts of a restless mind, which generates mindfulness, quietness, which allows our mind to get some rest after a long day at work, which is priceless. When we talk about cognitive health, it is not one thing. In fact, it is a complex set of multiple high-level brain functions that include memory, they include learning, retention, recall, attention, focus, the speed of processing, reasoning, language, and creativity, and more. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a lot. Cognitive health does have a ripple effect on our overall health. It impacts mood, it impacts emotions, it impacts our emotional well-being or psychosocial well-being. It affects the way that we think about ourselves. It affects the way we think about the world around us. There are so many factors that impact cognitive health, a lot of internal factors, a lot of external factors, and nutrition and supplementation in this case is one of them. Our presentation today is about one such ingredient that is heavily studied as a cognitive health ingredient, which is alpha-glycerophosphocholine, which we will refer to as Alpha GPC in this presentation. Speaking of brain health ingredients, if you look at this data from a Nutrition Business Journal, the history and the forecast, the trajectory is upwards. If you also look at the Google Trend Metrics, it shows that in the last 5 years, the Google search for the words cognitive health and brain health have doubled, which is also backed by one of the survey data from New Hope Network that says that the purchase intent for brain health supplements, including the mood and mental health supplements, has increased. It has increased not only in the consumers that are health conscious, but also the mainstream consumers. This is where I would like to invite Mike Pataruti. Mike, would you like to take us through the entire journey of Alpha GPC or Alphasize, the history and how it compares to other ingredients in the market?
Thank you, Sylvie, very, very much. And I'm really appreciative of this opportunity to work with our partner, Univar, on presenting, the benefits of Alphasize. And even more excited that we're able to have Dr. Amenta with us today to really offer what I consider some of the most in-depth insights and benefits to this compound. Alphasize is the branded version of alpha-glycerophosphocholine that ChemiNutra has had and actually brought to the market some 20 years ago. Some of the highlights that this branded ingredient bring are, its natural source, the clinical research. It is considered GRAS. It is managed under USP monograph. It's non-GMO. There are a host of patents that support this branded ingredient. It's kosher, halal. It has an NDI. In fact, it's the only Alpha GPC that has an NDI in the market. It's allergen-free. It's an ergogenic and nootropic compound in its activity. And finally, it's actually produced in our facilities in Italy. So what we're offering here to the audience today is, a compound that is perhaps one of the most established and clinically studied effective brain health supplement available to our industry. What's interesting about this compound, Alpha GPC, is that in many markets around the world, it's recognized as an OTC or a pharma product. And so it is not only represented here in the US, but again, globally, it's used as a drug. Today, in the US, in the nutraceutical world or environment, consumers and brand formulators have many, many options. And to be quite honest, many of these options, ingredients tend to be fads, or they lack what we would consider, real demonstrated benefits and performance, meaning health performance benefits for the consumer. We believe Alphasize, Alpha GPC brings not only the pharma level quality, but it also brings, as Dr. Armenta will illustrate during our presentation, many years of clinical history and performance demonstrating its benefits to brain health. So with that, I'd like to now pass the dialogue over to Dr. Armenta. We have some questions that we've thought would most benefit the audience, what we believe the consumer and the brands are asking. So thank you, Dr. Armenta, for being here. Thank you, Sylvie, for the introduction. And maybe we can get into the first question for Dr. Armenta.
Wonderful.
So, Dr. Armenta, I think if we could start with, your perspective of the history and chemistry and biology of Alpha GPC. I know there's a lot in each of those topics, but maybe you can help us kind of summarize and use those terms to be able to put a place in our mind on what the unique functionality to brain health is from the use of Alpha GPC through your experience.
Yes, with pleasure, and thank you very much for inviting me. Alpha GPC, or choline alphosphorate, is a choline-containing phospholipid. Its molecular weight is 257.221 grams per mole, and it contains about 40% by weight of choline. It is composed by glycerol backbone linked to a phosphate group at one end and the choline molecule at the other. The glycerol backbone is probably the reason why the compound easily reaches the brain tissue. Choline-containing phospholipids are preferred to choline due to their enhanced bioavailability and safety. Once centered in nervous cells, choline should be transformed into choline-containing phospholipids to be functional. Choline-containing phospholipids represent a form of choline that is more soluble and can be easily absorbed and utilized by the brain. So we can conclude that probably the choline-containing phospholipids represent a form of choline ready for use, different from choline itself, that should be transformed into choline-containing phospholipids before entering in the metabolic pathways of nerve cells. As I was mentioning, alpha GPC is a choline-containing phospholipid. Choline-containing phospholipids are essential components of nerve cell membranes, but also the precursors in the biosynthetic pathways of various neurotransmitters. As of 1998, choline has been recognized as an essential nutrient, so we should consider that our daily supply should have choline. Alpha GPC can be synthesized from natural phosphatidylcholine sources, such as soy or sunflowers. According to different animal models, alpha GPC is among cholinergic precursors belonging to the same class, the most effective in enhancing acetylcholine biosynthesis and release in the brain. Other choline-containing phospholipids are phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylserine, phosphatidylethanolamine, and CDP-choline or cytidylcholine. A particular characteristic that we should mention for alpha GPC is that compared with the other compounds I did already mention, it has the highest choline contents. This is very important, as we should consider that, for instance, cytidylcholine contains the 50% of choline by molecular weight compared with alpha GPC. If we want more choline, certainly the choice should be alpha GPC. Alpha GPC rapidly crosses the blood-brain barrier to deliver choline to the brain. It increases the bioavailability of choline, which is subsequently converted to acetylcholine, but also to other neurotransmitters and components of nerve cell membranes. Acetylcholine is an important neurotransmitter that plays a key role in brain functions such as memory and body functions such as muscle contractions. What about the impact of alpha GPC on memory and acuity? Hippocampus, a major site of neuronal differentiation and development in the adult brain, plays an important role in learning and memory. Studies have shown that chronic restraint stress causes hippocampal damage and reduces hippocampal differentiation and neurotransmitter expression. Enhanced cholinergic neurotransmission improves learning and memory, probably by increasing the expression of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, in the hippocampus. Alpha GPC increases levels of acetylcholine and BDNF, and as a consequence, enhances cognition and memory. There are many functions of BDNF, ranging from food intake to behavior, and spatial and non-spatial memory associated with structures in the central nervous system, such as the hippocampus, cerebral cortex, and hypothalamus. Alpha GPC has been shown to increase levels of acetylcholine and BDNF, enhancing cognition and memory. Therefore, supplementation with alpha GPC can positively impact mental acuity, boost cognitive performance, and even reduce the risk of developing neuronal damage in areas with a key role in learning and memory.
Wonderful.
Something quite important to mention is the role of choline-containing phospholipids, primarily alpha GPC, on brain morphology. As we can see from this very exciting slide, there is an age-dependent decrease in brain volume. This is due to the loss of nerve cells occurring with aging. Experimental studies have shown that alpha GPC counters the loss of nerve cells in aged experimental animals. A reduced loss in volume of brain region involved in learning and memory, such as the hippocampus and amygdala, has been demonstrated with treatment with alpha GPC in patients with Alzheimer's disease. What about mood? Mood is a fundamental aspect of human experience and plays a significant role in shaping our daily thoughts and behaviors. Mood in the brain is influenced by a combination of biological factors. We can mention hormones and brain neurotransmitters, psychological factors like personality and learned responses, as well as environmental factors such as illnesses and emotional stress. Monoamine neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, and or norepinephrine are the most important neurotransmitters in the pathophysiology of mood disorders. On the figure on the right side, we see the overlapping between the functions of serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Depression symptoms that derive from an impaired balance of the different neurotransmitter systems elaborating mood responses could benefit from a strong cholinergic stimulation induced by the neurotransmitter enhancement induced by Alpha GPC. But an additional characteristic and quality of Alpha GPC is the fact that the compound enhances also dopaminergic, serotoninergic, and noradrenergic neurotransmission, and therefore it probably provides a full range stimulation of some neurotransmitter systems involved in mood expression. But thanks to Alpha GPC, we can have an improved mood. What about learning? Learning disorders include a variety of problems characterized by difficulties with reading, writing, math, or reduced capability of organizing and planning activities, as well as troubles with memory and concentration. Alpha GPC has been demonstrated to improve cognition, behavior, and functional outcomes among individuals with neurological pathologies of various types. A very important characteristic which makes quite unique Alpha GPC is its role on apathy. Apathy is a lack of goal-directed activity. It also presents as a lack of interest and emotional expression. Apathy can be a symptom or complication of several neurological conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and stroke. Apathy affects approximately from 19 to 76% of individuals with Alzheimer's disease. Apathy can resemble depression, but it is different from depression. People with apathy don't have the feeling of low mood or sadness that people with depression have. Apathy and depression can coexist in the same individual. Individuals affected by apathy often display a lack of motivation, lack of interest and initiative, leading to a decline in their daily activities. This is associated with a greater functional disability and cognitive impairment. A decreased dopamine metabolism within the basal forebrain is associated with an increase in apathy scores. Dopamine is the primary neurotransmitter involved in these brain circuits and plays a relevant role in regulating motivation. Several studies have investigated the effect of Alpha GPC on apathy symptoms in individuals with Alzheimer's disease and reported that it is effective in reducing apathy symptoms. The activity of Alpha GPC on the dopaminergic system explains its role in reducing apathetic symptoms. By modulating dopamine levels, exhibiting antioxidant properties, and influencing several neurotransmitter systems, Alpha GPC may counter apathetic symptoms and improve overall cognitive function.
Very informative. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Armenta. We learned a lot today about Alpha GPC and everything it does to the human brain. Wonderful. Thank you. Mike, I have one more question. This is a broader question regarding ChemiNutra's mission, your portfolio expansion, or any other clinical studies and scientific studies on Alpha GPC that the company is investing in.
Yep. Thank you, Sylvie, and thank you, Dr. Armenta, for that thorough overview. Just stepping back for a moment, our company is a subsidiary of a much larger pharmaceutical group based in Italy and Spain, the Italfarmaco Group. And our commitment as a group has been in the brain health category for well over 20 years, specifically with Alpha GPC here in the US. And we know, as you pointed out, Sylvie, that the market for brain health is something that seems to be growing and of a greater interest for a very broad group of and generational group of consumers. Our company, Italfarmaco, and specifically ChemiNutra, are dedicated to brain health. We are the global producer of Alpha GPC as Alphasize, and our commitment is still in the brain health category and developing expanded forms and functionalities of Alpha GPC. We are currently in a development process. I'm excited to tell the audience that, again, is still focused on brain health. And Alpha GPC is part of that development activity. So we intend to build our nutritional on our nutritional and pharmaceutical heritage in brain health and the associated need states. So memory, acuity, better learning, improvement of apathy, cognition. These are a focus of new products. And a focus of expanding the functionality of Alpha GPC by ChemiNutra and by the Italfarmaco Group.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that summary. And I would like to add that we are very excited and very fortunate to be your supplier partner. So thank you very much. If you have any questions about the clinical studies that were covered in the webinar today, if you would like to sample Alphasize, you can reach out to us at nutra@univarsolutions.com. And if you are if you're interested in learning more about the ingredients that Universe Solutions has that complement Alphasize or in the brain health category, you can learn more at universesolutions.com/Nutra. Thank you very much for being with us in our webinar today. And thank you very much again, Mike and Dr. Armenta.
It was a pleasure. Thanks to you for your very expert and precise moderation of our webinar.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, Sylvie, and thank you for that slight slip. Please, everybody, be excited and Please ask Sylvie and myself and the representatives of both Univar and ChemiNutra for more information. We're very happy and eager to support you. And to be honest, I know Dr. Armenta has made himself available. If you'd like to have a one-on-one conversation with him, you're certainly able to ask through us to have access, and we can expand this conversation for those brands that would like to again have a more insightful view of Alpha GPC and Alphasize.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.